Hey, hi, hello, and welcome back to Forever Spinning. As you can see, we are not in the same spot as usual, and that's because we're doing something a little bit different with this video. Allow me to introduce you to the newest series on Forever Spinning, Re-Ranked. The premise to the show is rather simple. Basically, what I'm doing here is reordering your top 5 favorite albums. For this inaugural episode of Re-Ranked, I reached out to the members of the Forever Spinning Discord server as well as members of the app music board. I asked them to send me their 5 favorite albums of all time in order so I can use them for this show. It's a simple concept, I know. I'm not reinventing the wheel here, but hopefully this could be fun. And if you would like to participate in the next video that I make in this series, there are a number of ways to go about it. You can join the Forever Spinning Discord server. There is a link to that in the description below. You can also download the app music board, and you can send me a DM on there. I'll leave my username right here. Or you can go down to the comment section of this video and leave your 5 favorite albums of all time in order. As you can see, there are plenty of ways to participate, so hopefully you'll do so, and who knows, maybe I'll use your list in the next video. Alright, let's not waste any more time and shrink me down here a little bit so we can get started. First up here, this is a list from Glinting Beetle on the Forever Spinning Discord. As I said, there's a link to that in the video description below. Feel free to join. Let me start off by saying, great list right here. Really good stuff. First up on this list, it is Balance and Composure, the things we think we're missing. Then you got Norma Jean's Wrongdoers, Title Fight Floral Green, Vain, Error Zone, and Loathes, I Let It In, and It Took Everything. This is some really great classic aggressive music, a lot of emo, hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore, everything in that kind of noisy soundscape. However, I do think that I have my list figured out pretty quickly here, simply because these aren't my favorites per se. I do like these records, and I understand why they are considered classics or modern classics. I don't know how you want to differentiate that for some of these, but my list is still pretty cut and dry, I think. So we're gonna start off by putting Title Fight in the first spot. It's not my favorite Title Fight album, that would have to be Shed, but Floral Green is fucking awesome. And I'm now realizing that I haven't listened to that in quite some time, so I might be changing that pretty soon. Pretty much you cannot go wrong with Title Fight in my mind, so yeah, it's got the #1 spot. Then at number 2, I'm going to put in Error Zone. Truth be told, this is one of my favorite metalcore albums of the past couple of years. When I made my video covering Vain FM for So You're Interested In, I did so because of how much I loved Error Zone. It's my favorite album by them, there's no denying that, and seeing it live is just absolutely bonkers. I truly hope that people remember just how fucking good that record is. And if you haven't heard it, go listen to it. It might be a little aggressive for some, but goddamn, it's worth it. Then at number 3, I think I'm gonna go with Loathe. I'll admit I didn't get to this record when it came out in 2020, and I listened to it afterwards, but didn't really feel the same way that a lot of other people felt. So many people adore this album and consider it to be one of the best hardcore albums of the past couple of years, and while I think that it's great, I don't think I'm ready to go that far yet. I did actually put it on right before I started recording today, and that's mostly because I wanted to refresh my memory, and yeah, it kind of still stays the same. There's some great moments, some lackluster moments, but overall, good record. Number 4 is going to be Balance and Composure. It's a good album, but once again, I just don't have the love for it as much as other people do. I wouldn't consider myself a huge fan of Balance and Composure in general, but this is probably my favorite record of theirs. It just never really clicked for me. It's not like it's an offensive listen or something that I actively hate or dislike, but when you're put up against some titans like Title Fight and Vain FM, yeah, unfortunately you're gonna lose that battle. And that, of course, leaves this Norma Jean record, Wrongdoers, at the very end at number 5. Once again, don't dislike it by any means, just not gonna do it for me compared to the others. And now that I'm looking at it, the gap between like 1, 2, and 3 versus 4 and 5 is pretty massive in my mind. Like number 1 and 2 are like up here, and then 3 is maybe down here, and 4 and 5 are probably down here. Regardless, great list, and I want to thank Glinting Beetle for being the test subject, the guinea pig for the first episode of Re-Ranked. Hopefully this just gets better with time, but we'll see what happens. Alright, next list here is from another Discord user. This is Gigs. You got Gorilla's Demon Days, you have Tyler the Creator's Flower Boy, then you got Discovery by Daft Punk, Stankonia by Outkast, and Food by MF Doom. Yeah, I like these records a lot, but I do not like this order, so yeah, let's get re-ranking. Number 1 is going to be pretty difficult, I'm not going to lie. I'm having quite the internal debate right now. This is why these videos are edited, because I've been sitting here looking at the screen for like 5 minutes and can't think of what to do. When in doubt, fuck it, we're going food. That's right, number 1 on this list for me is indeed food, MF Doom. What can I even say about this album that hasn't been said before? Actually, I have no idea. I don't even know what I could say at this point. Fucking fantastic record. If you've never listened to it, go change that right now. I don't care if you don't even watch the remainder of this video. Go fucking listen to that album. MF Doom forever. May he please be resting eternally peaceful. So yeah, that probably means that number 2 is going to be Discovery by Daft Punk. It is tough that that did not land the number 1 spot, but the more that I think about it, my favorite Daft Punk record is Alive 2007, so it kind of felt wrong to put it in that first spot. My rationale right now isn't perfect. I have been drinking a little bit, as you can see, so emotion is going to be running high in this video, but I don't feel too bad at putting Daft Punk Discovery at number 2. It does kind of feel right. It is still one of the best electronic records of all time. There is no denying that, but unfortunately, it gets the silver medal in this video. Number 3 is going to be Stankonia by Outkast. This is probably my favorite Outkast record. I'm not entirely sure because ATLiens could give it a run for its money, but I certainly do like having this in the number 3 spot. This feels pretty good. Just some absolute gems on this record. I'm sure you know most of them by now, but even some of the B-sides are absolutely flooring. I mean, they got Spaghetti Junction on this thing. What a fucking song. Good God. Same goes for Bombs Over Baghdad. God, there are countless great songs on this album, but yeah, it's gonna be number 3 for me. Number 2, I am going to put Tyler, the Creator's Flower Boy. I'm a big fan of this record. It is not my favorite from Tyler by a long shot, but that's a-okay. I still think it's fantastic. Once again, it's pretty tough when you're going up against the likes of artists like MF Doom, Daft Punk, and Outkast. If this were Wolf or Igor, maybe we'd be having a different conversation right now, but it is Flower Boy, so number 4 it is. And that leaves, of course, Demon Days by Gorillaz to take the number 5 spot. I'm not really a big Gorillaz guy. It just never really clicked for me. I recognize why it's beloved for the most part. Not all of it, though. Some of it kind of weirds me out. You guys are kind of freaky, but it's fine. Whatever. You're having fun. Shit, even one of my best friends is a big Gorillaz fan, and he's kind of a freak too, so yeah, I don't know. Y'all can discuss that amongst yourselves. And that is going to do it for list 2. Thank you to Gigs for submitting this in the Forever Spinning Discord server. Once again, you can join that by clicking the link in the video description box below. And that is going to do it for all the Discord user submissions. All of these ones after this will be from the Music Board app. So yeah, let's hop to it. Let's get to list number 3. This list was submitted by Crank210 on Music Board. Number 1 here we have Metallica's Master of Puppets. Then we have the Blue Album by Weezer, which is celebrating its 30th anniversary today as I'm recording this. Then we have Ben Folds Rockin' the Suburbs, Radiohead's The Bends, and After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. Big fan of the variety of sounds on each of these records, very eclectic top 5. So yeah, let's get to work. Number 1, another tough one, but I do think I'm gonna end up going with Weezer. There's no real rhyme or reason as to why it's number 1, but I do think that I listen to this record way more than I listen to what I'm gonna be putting at number 2. So for that reason alone, basically, it's going to get the nod and be placed number 1. Although I've said this on the channel before, I am a much bigger fan of Pinkerton than the Blue Album, but still, I don't know, great fucking record. So many classic songs. Surf Wax America. Mwah. Beautiful. So yeah, number 2 is then going to be going to Master of Puppets by Metallica. It's got riffs for days, but it is not my favorite Metallica release. That is Ride the Lightning. And that's pretty much why I'm placing it at number 2. I don't know if that's a great reason or not, but it's kind of how I feel, and yeah, we're gonna go with that. Now, if this were between Pinkerton and Ride the Lightning, it might be a different story. I'm not too sure, but yeah, we're gonna land there and keep moving forward before I think about this too much, regret everything about my life, and stop doing this channel. Okay, number 3 is going to be After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. It's probably because I'm going through a big Neil Young renaissance right now. Been listening to a ton of his music, and yeah, it only feels appropriate to be putting this in number 3. I'm still a much bigger fan of, obviously, Harvest, as well as On the Beach, but yeah, After the Gold Rush, still a fantastic album. Very happy to see this crack the top 5 for Crank210's list, and yeah, you know what? Let's bump it up and give it to number 3. Number 4 is then going to be Radiohead's The Bends. Definitely not my favorite Radiohead record. One of my least favorite records by them, but it's also Radiohead, so you can't really go wrong. I had my big Radiohead phase years ago, and I still do adore them, but The Bends, it doesn't hold up as much for me as it does for other people. Still a lot of gorgeous music on here, and it really was where Radiohead started to find their footing in the soundscape that they wanted to live in. Obviously, that would change so many times throughout their eras, but The Bends feels like the right step forward, the stride that they were trying to take from the beginning. Yeah, feeling good about that at number 4, which of course means that Rockin' the Suburbs by Ben Folds will be number 5. I hadn't heard this record in a couple of years, to be completely honest, so I did put it on before I recorded this video, and yeah, it still just doesn't do it for me. Out of the 3 lists that I've done so far, this is probably my least favorite album to be mentioned. I do get it. I understand why people would like this a lot. Nostalgia factor, there are catchy tunes here, but I don't know, man. It's just not for me. It's not the style that I listen to, and even when it does cross over into the world that I like, it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't go all the way. It kind of feels lackluster, kind of, I don't know, stale and in one place. Whether that be production choices or songwriting choices, I don't know. It's a lot of the same for me, and that's kind of why it's going to be number 5. But yeah, good list. Appreciate it, Crank 210. This is a solid one. Like I said, I like the variety of everything here. A lot of different sounds, a lot of different styles. Yeah, very eclectic taste. Big fan. I'm also realizing right now that I haven't given anyone who submitted anything like any shit at all. I don't know if that's just because I'm not drunk enough yet, or because I'm just a nice person in general. Because now that I'm looking at it, Ben Folds being number 3 on this list, hey, you do you. You like what you like. You know me. I'm not going to tell anybody, give anybody shit for that kind of stuff, but... Ooh, really? Like after the Gold Rush is right there. All right, next up, this is Ethan from Music Board. Okay. All right, you got Tyler, the Creator's Igor. You have To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. The College Dropout by Dickhead West. Plastic Beach by Gorillaz and Rodeo by Travis Scott. Number 1 is going to go to Pimp a Butterfly. Once again, another album that I don't think I need to say anything about. Either you know it or you don't, and if you don't, you should go change that. Incredibly influential, incredibly poignant, a record that probably will stand the test of time. It has done so for almost a decade at this point, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Kendrick won the beef, there is no question about that. Yeah, that's number 1. Feel pretty good about that. Number 2, also feel pretty good about, is going to be Tyler, the Creator's Igor. A modern classic, a fantastic album, probably my favorite soundscape of Tyler's discography, although I do prefer Wolf just for like nostalgia reasons, I guess. As a complete record though, yeah, I mean, you could definitely convince me that Igor is the best. It took the world by storm. It continues to be a favorite of music enjoyers, especially on the internet. Guess what, baby? You're gonna be seeing a lot of To Pimp a Butterfly, Igor, and stuff like that on these lists, but that doesn't mean they're not good. You know, just because everybody likes it doesn't mean that it's not good. Igor specifically, fantastic album. Number 3, we are going to go with, you know, the asshole himself. I love this album, man. I really do, and I like a ton of Ye's stuff, but fucking A. What a fucking piece of shit. Fuck him. Fuck anybody associated with the things that he's doing now. Fucking Nazi piece of shit. If you've watched this channel for a long time, you know that I really try not to be an asshole or a dickhead about other people, other artists, but man, fuck him. I don't even listen to his stuff anymore all that often because of all of the horrendous, racist, homophobic, fucking just go down the entire list of bad things that he's done. And I love The College Dropout. It sucks. It's such a good fucking album, but man, it's really hard to get past all the things that he's done. College Dropout is my favorite record of his, but you know, you're not going to get me talking all that much about it. This is pretty much where you're going to hear from me. Anyway, I could write a thesis on why Kanye West sucks right now, but whatever. Let's move on. Number 4, I was really ready to get off the old Kanye train there, and now I'm having second thoughts about how I want to play this. Stroke my beard, maybe I'll think of something. Yeah, fuck it. We'll go Rodeo here. I'm not a huge Travis Scott fan, but I was also of the age when this music was everywhere. Like, that was my high school experience. Travis Scott shit was played all the fucking time. So maybe it's just the nostalgia factor here that's gonna beat out the Gorillaz record, but I don't know, man. It's fine. It's a good record, Rodeo. It is good. I get why people like it. Not necessarily for me, but there are some really good tunes on here. And I will be placing Plastic Beach at the end just because, as I noted earlier, not a big Gorillaz guy. Nothing inherently wrong with them if you like them. Hell yeah, but I don't know, it just doesn't scratch that itch for me. All said and done, I do think that Plastic Beach is my favorite Gorillaz album, but that isn't necessarily saying much. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this one. I think I did a solid job ranking this, and pretty close to what our dear friend Ethan had. Yeah, good on you, Ethan. Good list, but stop listening to Kanye West, or do it by listening to a vinyl or a downloaded MP3. Don't give him any more money, please. All right, now we have this list here from Nuko the Funky Diabetic, aka gosh on Music Board. And this is one hell of a fucking list. This is varied as hell, so many different genres, fucking respect. It might not be my overall favorite list so far, but hell yeah, still respect. At number 1, Nuko has That's the Way of the World by Earth, Wind & Fire. Then you have Cameron's Come Home With Me. Then it's The Cure's Disintegration, Armand Hammer's Haram, and rounding out the list at number 5, LCD Sound System's This Is Happening. This one's not gonna be easy. Well, we gotta start somewhere. Number 1 is going to be LCD Sound System, This Is Happening. I've been thinking about this a lot outside of videos, obviously, but man, I don't know what my favorite LCD Sound System album is. They're all like up here. I don't know what could possibly be number 1. This Is Happening makes a very strong case, and yeah, because of that, fuck it, number 1 it is. I had like my giant playlist on shuffle a couple of days ago while I was in the shower, and Home came on, and fuck, man, god damn, what a song. I could say that about probably, I don't know, 80 to 90% of that album to begin with, but man, there are some goddamn bangers. Number 2, this is, it's actually a little bit more difficult than number 1. I don't know. The more that I look at it, I think I'm gonna go with Haram by Armand Hammer. Now let me explain this pick a little bit more before you go running down to the comments section to give me help. I've been going through The Cure's discography one album at a time for roughly 9 months now. Now you might be saying to yourself, Luke, just go stream them all. What the fuck are you doing, you idiot? And yes, I could very easily do that, but I'm a pretentious asshole, and I decided from the very beginning that I would start listening to their discography by listening to it on vinyl. That was 9 months ago when I had much more money, and now I don't have much of it, so that is kind of why this process has come to a slow grind, not quite to a halt. At one time, I was listening to a new Cure record, let's just say every 2 weeks, whereas now it takes a little bit longer. I did finally make my way to Disintegration though, not too long ago, about a month ago probably at this point, and I quite enjoyed it, but I feel like I didn't get the full experience by listening to it. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention enough, or it just didn't click as well. Whereas Haram by Armand Hammer, this is a bona fide classic in my mind. Definitely top 10 hip-hop album of the 2020 so far. You could even convince me to say it's a top 5, so I do feel good about placing that at number 2, and then obviously, I just talked about it enough. Disintegration is going to be number 3. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow when I'm editing this video, I end up listening to Disintegration again and realizing that I completely fucked up. If so, maybe I'll leave a note in here. Yeah, so don't come at my throat for this one. I feel good about this. Number 4, I'm gonna go with Camera. Really good album. I love me some good coke rap, or whatever you want to call it, I guess. Obviously, I talk about clips a ton, and Cameron kind of falls in that same category. It's outlandish, it's over the top, it's even kind of gaudy, but it all works. Stellar production on this one, big old fan of this album, but you're also, once again, going up against some other records that I really love, and records that I've spent more time with. I can't say that I've listened to Come Home With Me a lot, but yeah, anytime that I have played it, I enjoyed it. That leaves this Earth, Wind & Fire record at number 5. Played it before I recorded this video, just as a refresher. Really good album, happy feeling, great song. Just not my vibe. Just not something that I really play a lot, and I think it would have been disingenuous for me to rank it higher than any of these other ones because, well, unfortunately, they're all albums that I really enjoyed. Or fortunately, I don't know how you feel, but I do think that Nuko is going to be a little peeved that I flip-flopped their list. Regardless, 5 stellar choices, a big old fan of this list, but yeah, let's keep it moving. Alright, now we have a list from Going Apeshit. Going Apeshit actually helped out before by recommending some albums to be used on the March Madness video, so thank you again for that. Actually, when they DM'd me on Music Board, let me find the message here. they started off the list by saying, "You're done for." So, yeah, thank you for that. I think they're still upset that I wasn't very high on Hell Mode in that March Madness video, but, yeah, well, I guess we'll see how it fares this time. Starting off this list, it is The Monitor by Titus Andronicus. Then we have Hell Mode by Jeff Rosenstock. Then there is this King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard record, Nonagon Infinity. Then it's The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and rounding it out is Nevermind by Nirvana. Very solid list. Not records that I would say are very high on my personal side of things, but yeah, overall, who can say that you did wrong here? Actually, I'm that person. I can say that you did wrong here, but I won't. It's okay. Let's start the re-ranking. Nevermind. You are number 1. Not my favorite Nirvana record. That would be In Utero. R.I.P. Steve Albini. But never mind. What the hell are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna put it up against? What the hell are you gonna do? Fucking amazing. God tier. Perfect. Dave Grohl's drums on here are magnificent. You could bury me alive with a pair of headphones on and I would be completely content as long as you have those drums playing. Outstanding stuff. What else can I say that hasn't been said before? I'm not gonna bother. We're gonna move on to what I think is number 2. Number 2... Yeah, you know what? Hell Mode it is. Not my favorite Jeff Rosenstock record, but whatever, that's okay. It could just be recency bias, I don't really know, but yeah, I feel pretty confident of putting that at number 2. I will say that after Nevermind here, and after Hell Mode, I guess, these other 3 records, they're good, I get why they're good, and I appreciate everybody who enjoys them. They just don't really do it for me all that often. You know, it happens that way. So number 3, I will put The Monitor. So it really is a mammoth of an album that does hold up. Titus Andronicus just wasn't one of those bands that I really got into, especially when I was getting into punk and this was recommended to me a lot. I've given it a couple of listens and maybe it does deserve a re-listen at some point. I didn't do it for this video because I kind of knew how I felt about it to begin with. But I don't know, times change, people change. Maybe I will be regretting this at number 3. Maybe it should have been higher, but I don't know. I feel okay with that. Number 4 is going to be My Chemical Romance's The Black Parade. Another solid release. I get why people love it, but yeah, not exactly for me. I'm not really a big MCR fan in general. The Black Parade is my favorite. I don't think that's too much of a hot take. Like I said earlier, I really hate being a dickhead and shitting on music because that's not the point of this channel, but I don't know, man. Actually, no, fuck it. We're throwing all that out the door because number 5 is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and I do not understand you people. You can like whatever you want to like. Don't get me wrong, please. You have the right to do so, and I hope that you enjoy the hell out of it. But what the fuck, man? I just can't get into this band. I don't understand it. This is actually one of the very few albums that I have listened to them by them. And this isn't music that I'm like beating my head against a wall because I hate it. I just don't get why it's as big as it is. I listen to some weird shit, man. Like, it's not that. I just, what is it? Am I missing something? Can somebody tell me in the comments? Like, is something wrong with my brain? Do I need the fucking Elon Musk Neuralink? Do I need to have King Gizzard sending fucking beams of music into my brain at all times because they're releasing 15 fucking albums a year? Is that how you finally get into this band? Sorry, I digress. It's a fine album. I don't understand the fandom. Whatever. It's cool. I'm happy for all of you who enjoy it. But I can guarantee you right now, you will never see a King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard video on the Forever Spinning channel. You can give that the fucking seal of approval, the stamp of foreverness. I don't know what you want to call it. Just take my word for it. It is not happening. So you know what, Going Apeshit? I was indeed done for. You were completely correct. You've derailed this video in a way that I did not think was possible, so God bless you, Godspeed to you. Sorry for being an asshole, I do actually really appreciate you submitting a list, and I do hope that you continue to watch the channel and continue to contribute. I do like your antics, you seem pretty cool. Okay, let's move on to this next list here submitted by Keegan JP on Music Board. Actually, I take it back, let's crack another beer. Go Phils. Alright. Much better. First up, it is LCD Sound System Sound of Silver. Then it is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. I see a little bit of a trend here. Then you got Abbey Road by the Beatles, Igor by Tyler, the Creator, and Merriweather Post Pavilion by Animal Collective. Number 1 spot is going to go to Sound of Silver. Like I just said, don't know what my favorite LCD Sound System is, but obviously Sound of Silver is up there. I still can't listen to All My Friends without crying just a little bit. It's a very emotional song for me, and it means quite a lot, as do pretty much all of the songs on Sound of Silver. Perfect record. I don't know what else to say. LCD Sound System is one of my favorite bands of all time. Top 5, no doubt in my mind. So it wasn't very hard for me to place that at number 1. Number 2, we're gonna follow in suit. It is also going to be To Pimp a Butterfly. So far, Keegan and I, we are on the same page. Don't need to go too much further into that one. Once again, Kendrick won the beef. Number 3, we are going to actually change things up just a tad because Igor is going to come in at that spot. Again, don't need to say too much. We've covered this. Both To Pimp a Butterfly and Igor will become common themes because if I'm not mistaken, the next list also features them as well. Nothing against the people who submitted lists already because you obviously did not know who else was going to be making lists and what they would be, but I do hope that we can avoid something like this in the future. I'm not upset with anybody who picked these records. They are fantastic albums, great choices, glad to see them make your top 5, but a little variety would be nice for upcoming videos to say the least. Hopefully that will just rectify with time and we can move on and not have to have this conversation. But anyway, let's move on. Number 4 is going to be Abbey Road by the Beatles. It's no Revolver, it's no Sgt. Pepper, but Abbey Road, fucking amazing album. I recently tossed it on like a month or two ago at this point, just to revisit it. It had been a little while, and fucking A, man, what an amazing album. Still floors me how good it sounds, how influential this record in particular was to the sounds of so many different genres. It's not a hot take to say the Beatles were influential. I'm not the first person to say it, and I certainly will not be the last person to say it, but it is amazing how Abbey Road in particular really spawned so many different things. I Want You, She's So Heavy being number 1 on the influential list, probably just because of, you know, what I listen to. It's more of a personal pick, but god damn, man, that really changed the fucking game. I do think that it's going to be a lot more influential than probably the 3 records in front of it, but in terms of enjoyability and things that I come back to a lot, Abbey Road is not at the top of the list. But I do not need to be the one to defend the Beatles. There are plenty of other people to do that. So yeah, let's move on and talk about number 5 here, which is Merryweather Post Pavilion by Animal Collective. Once again, an album that I really enjoy. Probably my favorite of their records, but yeah, in terms of my taste, going up against some really tough stuff. Taking the 5 spot in this instance is not necessarily a bad thing. I know I kind of said earlier how I, felt about my rankings of stuff, and pretty much all 5 of these are like, up here, like in the same realm. So yeah, it looks like Keegan and I have very similar taste in music. I would not have these as my top 5 albums of all time. There are plenty of others that I would choose over them, but yeah, all said and done, we definitely are akin in some way. And that is going to bring us to the final list in this inaugural episode of Re-Ranked. This was submitted by Fire Emoji on Music Board, and at number 1, they have Blonde by Frank Ocean. Then is followed up by To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. Number 3 is Grace by Jeff Buckley. Number 4 is Igor by Tyler, the Creator. And rounding out this list, it is Pinata by Freddie Gibbs and Madlib. I know how I said I wasn't being mean to people, and I'm gonna keep it as such, and I don't want y'all to think that this is directly at them, but it's very funny to me how all of y'all have very similar top 5s. I don't know if it's just because y'all listen to the same music, or follow the same writers, or are active on Rate Your Music, or Music Board, or Album of the Year, and it's not even like these records are bad. They're all really, really good. I don't know. How does everybody come to that same conclusion? Once again, this is not directed at ya or any of the other 2 people who had To Pimp a Butterfly or Igor. It's not that. It's more of an overarching, I don't know if it's an issue per se, but it's just something that I've noticed throughout time, and I'm sure everybody else has noticed as well. Like, they're all good. In an objective level, they're all good, and I think that's all well and fine. I don't know. I don't understand how we've gotten to this point in music. And I truly do believe that the 3 users who submitted these records, specifically with To Pimp Butterfly and Igor, that they feel this way. I truly do believe that these are their favorite records. But I can't help but feel that it's a trap, or like quicksand, or something along those lines, where we feel so compelled to be homogenized and similarized into these same exact records that we all talk about. And yes, they're good. I keep saying that, and I need to keep saying that because, I don't want that thread to be lost here. I just hope anybody out there is willing and also searching to find different music. That's kind of the point of what I do here. That's the entire ethos of this channel, whether you agree with it or not. So yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to go on this whole tangent here. It's been something that's been bugging me for quite some time, and this is, the easiest way I can address it. All right, but back to the list. Sorry, I know this video is probably running very long at this point, so yeah, back to the list. Number 1, I am going to put To Pimp a Butterfly. Just rewind the video if you didn't catch my thoughts the past couple of times. But at number 2, I am going to put Blonde. I adore this record. I adore Frank Ocean. Please, I keep saying it, but please somebody start a beef with him so he can actually release some music. We've seen what happens when beef starts. Artists come out of the woodworks and, say their piece. So somebody do it with Frank. Please, I need some more Frank Ocean music. Number 3, it is going to be Igor by Tyler, the Creator. Once again, go back if you missed my thoughts. And number 4, we're gonna go Pinata. I love everything about this album. I love the production by Madlib. I love Freddie Gibbs' bars. God damn, does he deliver. It's my favorite of their joint projects thus far, although I do quite enjoy Bandana, but Pinata is just in a league of its own. So that is going to leave Jeff Buckley's Grace at number 5. Once again, this is one of those albums that I understand why everybody enjoys, but it just doesn't do it for me. I'd rather listen to Elliott Smith or a number of other singer-songwriters out there. It's not like these are bad songs. It's not like they're poorly done. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me. It's another one of those albums that everybody online, at least on like Music Board and apps like that, seem to fucking love. I'm not trying to hate here, I get it. I love some really good sad music, especially from a good singer-songwriter, but yeah, I don't know, Grace just isn't the one for me. It's just not the first one that I would reach for when I'm in that kind of mood. But thank you to ya, thank you for the submission. Sorry for kind of going off at the beginning there. Please, this was not directed at you. This is more of a general thing that I've been thinking about. I hope that you all enjoyed this video and are looking forward to part 2, because while I was recording, I actually got a couple of submissions from some other people. So it's safe to say that as long as y'all don't show up to my house with shotguns and pitchforks, that this series will continue and keep moving on. As I stated at the top, there are numerous ways to submit your list, so refer to that at the beginning. I don't want to relitigate that. I'm going to close out this video rather quickly because I have a feeling that this video went a little long. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure that you are subscribed to Forever Spinning on YouTube. I do new videos just like this probably every month is what I landed on, as well as other series that I have, such as So You're Interested In, Stacks of Wax, Where It's At, and The Variety Show. There are so many new videos coming down the pipeline, and being subscribed not only helps me out, but it'll also let you know when these new videos drop. Of course, be sure to join the official Forever Spinning Discord server as well. We're always in there talking old music, new music, hot takes, and fresh finds. If you're a music nerd like myself, then you're probably going to want to join, and we would love to have you. Link to that in the description below. That is all the time we have, but allow me to remind you to go out and support your local record store if you are able to, along with your local artists in your area, and, well, until I see you next time, happy listening.